I'm an entrepreneur. I started this company 13 years ago to be the very first financial company to provide debt facilities to startups in Europe and Israel. We started in London in 1998. We opened an office in Israel in 1999, opened an office in Scandinavia in 2001. Over the time, we've invested in about 250 companies. It's a few more now. It changes all the time. The important thing is that we invest across all industry sectors. I noticed you had it broken up into 3 categories. We've invested across all those sectors. We invest across all stages. We invest very, very early stage companies, as little as 600,000 euros, and all the way up to 16 million. Without entrepreneurs, we cannot drive innovation and growth. I've also believed that being an entrepreneur sometimes means being naively optimistic. And I've seen, if we've invested in 250 companies, we invest in about 10% of the companies that we see come across our desk. So I've seen a lot of business plans and a lot of management teams. And sometimes you have to be naively optimistic. You have to have self-belief, you have to have energy, you have to be willing to take the risk. But not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. And the quote up there, I think, is appropriate. Sometimes you don't actually want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be an entrepreneur. The time now is probably easier. It's never easy to start a company, but there are more tools and things available to entrepreneurs today than ever to enable you to start a real world-class company. Today, I think big business, we've all seen what's going on in the world and in the markets, and I think big business today is more risk-averse than ever. And it does leave opportunities across a range of industries. And some people would call these niches, but I think you'd find that there's some great companies that have been created by getting into a niche and making it their own. Part of why it's never been easier is that you can set up a website today and have global reach almost overnight. When I say you don't need to be in Silicon Valley, I can only give you an example and say that 13 years ago when I started my business, just to set up an office, get a web page, and get those things done was incredibly difficult. It took weeks and months to get companies registered and things done. Today, companies not only can go to a serviced office, but they can have broadband immediately. They can get websites that they can do themselves with the tools they have. And I do believe that with cloud services and the ability to outsource even accounting services, legal services, all of those things that can scale with your business, it's actually never been easier to put a company together and get an idea out there to be able to see if it's going to work. I think today, there's not just smart money in Silicon Valley, there's smart money in a lot of places. There are real VCs here in Catalonia. There are real angel networks here with experience, serial entrepreneurs. And it is important to remember that this disruption can happen at any level in any sector. The other paradigm shift that I believe the internet is giving us is that you don't necessarily have to have a large international venture capitalist backing you to make a big business. It's often said that because the cycles are very short together between 2001 and 2008, you needed a lot of money to get a company to grow and scale. But I don't believe that's necessarily true in many industries like software and internet these days. To combine sort of what we talked about, the preeminence in my book of the entrepreneur is the one that drives innovation and growth, creating an ecosystem which is, I think locally, there's got to be a lot more cooperation and networking to make it happen. I think you can create something revolutionary, but you really do have to share ideas and network. I've seen it, as I mentioned before, I've seen it happen in Israel and London, and the common denominator of each of those was, in London we had something called First Tuesday, which was a weekly gathering of entrepreneurs and VCs, and it was never where everybody had to wear a name tag or anything. It was just a getting together of entrepreneurs that really helped grow the system. Israel has had the same thing. So I think that if you combine all of those things, collaborate, and you encourage a lot of other people to join the ecosystem, I think you'd be surprised at the kind of momentum you can create. And I'd leave the last one here, is just be part of something bigger. I think you have all the tools here. You have better weather than London does for sure. I don't know about Israel, but London. And I do believe that you have enough critical mass here to start something on the ground floor.